St. Louis, Missouri.
It's the FasterFreedom Show.
With your hosts, Sam Prim and Lucas Whoa!
We talking about freedom?
Hello and welcome to the FasterFreedom Show. My name is Sam.
And I am Lucas.
And Lucas, we have a good episode today. We are live on YouTube, if you didn't know. I think soon we're going to go live on all platforms, but obviously most people are going to listen to the recording on YouTube or Spotify or Apple, which is all good.
Yeah, so many platforms out there. They're like, you go live on platforms that I don't even know exist.
That's true.
That's wild. You're like, Spaces. I'm like, what the hell is Spaces?
It's on X. It's a big deal. We're going to get to it later. A SpaceX, get it?
Ooh, is that why they did it?
Oh, probably not. No, I think Spaces was on. Anyways, today we're talking about creative financing, why it doesn't work. Now, of course, we're going to go over certain scenarios where creative financing does work. We're going to talk about scenarios where it doesn't. And we're going to give good instances where it can work. So we're going to go over several options from seller financing to leasing to sub-to to partners and hard money. So we're going to go over these creative financing options, and then we're going to say why they don't work and why they do work. So I think it's going to be an interesting way to do it, and I think people are going to learn the best ways to not do something and the best ways to do something.
Yeah, not exactly like it doesn't work. Like you said, it's like
That's what make it catchy for a hook.
For sure, I love
it.
Pros and cons, and then also why I don't personally like it, and you don't personally like it, and why we don't do it as well. So we'll talk about all that stuff.
Buckets.
Nice shot.
All right, hopefully everybody's having a great week. Make sure to share this episode with a friend. If you are an avid listener, somebody that listens to most episodes, and you haven't reviewed us, we would appreciate that. Trying to stretch and grow a little bit. That's what she said. And then we're going to get into some real or fake news, some riddles, and some true falses.
Yeah, great segments. Let's rock.
All right, let's do it. All right, Lucas, the number one first thing that we want to talk about as it pertains to creative financing is?
Seller financing.
What is seller financing?
Yes, you call it, some people call it owner financing, but pretty much you buy a house from the seller, and instead of going to get money from a bank to pay that seller is the bank, and you pay them every month instead of a bank. So they don't get paid the entire amount of the purchase price on day one when you close. They get paid that amount over time based on the terms you set up.
And I think my biggest take as we dive into these is these are good arrows to have in your quiver, but again, these have to be somewhat unique circumstances. So you're not going to get these questions unless you find the bunnies. So you got to find the bunnies, and then you'll get to these questions.
I like it. I think I'm not exactly sure what
we
that
just
is.
had Pace on the Buyers Club Live thing, and I was on to help kind of facilitate that. And he said the peace sign for sub 2 actually is technically bunny ears, because his very first house he bought ever, he helped the lady relocate her bunnies, and he bought the house for $15,000 less than anybody else. And he figured out that if you can find the bunnies, the real reason why they're selling in every single deal, you'll get every deal. And so, anyways, it was a cool thing. I didn't know the pretty
sub 2. You would think
the pretty infamous. I mean, it's both.
Yeah.
It stands for both. Pretty infamous sub 2.
Double entendre.
Double entendre, not a triple. Maybe a triple.
And a peace sign.
Yeah, so maybe it is
triple.
So anyways, that's why Find the Bunnies, which is a fun thing. Of course, Pace has got really cool sayings for those kind of things. But all right, so seller financing, the seller uses their equity or whatever to lend you the money instead of going to a bank. So some pros are it can be flexible.
Yeah.
For sure. Like you can make it to where it's interest only. You can make it to where it's no interest. You can make it to whatever interest rate you guys both decide on. There is no entity overseeing the actual loan, so there's no red tape to go through. There's no boxes to check. It's whatever you guys want to do. So it can be very flexible.
Very flexible. Yep.
And it's usually easier to qualify. I don't really know many seller financing. Maybe they pull credit sometimes, but in most of the time they're not.
Yeah.
Most of the time they won't.
So it's not like getting a traditional loan, that's for sure. You don't have this huge
That's for
underwriting
sure.
process to go through. Maybe the seller asks for X, Y, or Z, but probably not, especially if you build a good relationship with them. It's not going to be like getting a traditional loan. It'll be a lot simpler than that. Just got to get the seller to trust you.
So ease and simplicity is a pro. I'll let you do the cons. Last one is you can usually move pretty quickly. It's just them being comfortable with it and doing it. I mean, technically, you can probably do it if you have the paperwork with you that day. there's no really way to do that using a financial institution that quickly. Some of them you can do, we say 7 days or 5 days, but nothing can work as quickly as no financial institution involved.
Right. You still got to transfer ownership and all that stuff. So
I
that
guess
takes some
this is
time
seller
to pull-
financing.
yeah.
Yes, this isn't sub 2.
So
yeah.
it's in your name, and you still got to do title and all that, but you're not waiting on a bank, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't have a financial contingency and all that.
Perfect. Let's go over some of the cons, Walls.
Yeah. So the first con here is typically requires a large down payment. I don't know how true that is, but a lot of times because the seller is not getting the full amount, they want something up front. They don't just want the monthly payments a lot of the time. Sometimes you can get away with it. Sometimes you can get away with small payment. But since they're not getting the full amount, typically they want a nice chunk up front.
Yes, exactly. Number dos.
Number dos, con, is seller assumes the risk of buyer default. So the reason the bank does all that underwriting is to make sure you're a quality borrower. If that seller's not doing it to you, and maybe your property's not performing, and you might not be able to pay them back. So a lot less qualified of a borrower, more than likely, that's structuring these type of deals than one that got approved through traditional financing methods.
100 P. And then lastly, this is my biggest one, is it may not be available. This is the big thing for me is we just talked about our buddy Pace. He's built this 2,000 unit portfolio, but it's nationwide. It's pretty tough. It would be pretty tough for us. We could do it, I guess, to own 50 million in real estate, all seller financing, because people just want that cash offer. It's easier to understand, easier to articulate, and it's just there's more opportunities for that. I don't know if we get 20 leads, 19 of them don't want anything to do with seller financing, I would guess.
Yeah, no, I agree. And
maybe 18, I don't know.
And not only not want anything to do, but they don't have the
ability.
equity.
They don't have the ability.
They don't have the equity to do it. You know, these got to be free and clear or damn near close to it, or there's still a bank involved at that point. Then you're paying the seller to pay the bank, and that's not a good situation right there.
No, you never want to do that. So kind of to round this first one out, we got 7 of them, right? 9 of them. Wow.
Yeah, so we got to kind of
we got to rock. So the biggest thing for this one is if you're trying to convince a seller to do this, if it's a good scenario, the good scenario is them having equity and then being open to it. Some big pitches for you can be limiting their tax liability. If they have it paid off or damn near close, they're probably going to be paying a huge tax bill on that profit. You can really cut into that by breaking this over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, however you want to do it. So that's a huge part of this. That's the biggest pitch, I think, is not getting a bank involved, moving quickly, and being able to limit their tax burden by, rather than them getting 500 grand right now, maybe they get 50 grand a year for 10 years, and that will be much less on their taxes.
Yep, I love it. And great option for people. Like, even though we can get financing, if there's a whole bunch of equity and a big deal, this is an option that we're going to pitch more than likely to the seller. We have.
100 P.
Yep.
Yeah, we've done our self-storage with that. It's the big one.
And our 42 pack, remember, was an initial seller
I
financing.
feel like we should have been able to convince him. We just weren't good enough on it yet. He was pretty old school, but
He was very old school.
But you hear about that all the time.
He wanted his chunk. He
wanted his-
stuck to it. And then when the market rose, we bought it all later.
Yeah, that's a good one. We should do another video on that one. All right, number 2, Lucas, bring in number 2.
All right, lease options. I'm not super familiar with lease options. We don't do a whole bunch.
Well, Shane did some research for you. You can just read the bullets.
All right. Well, the pros of lease options allows you to control the property without a full purchase up front. So
this is like if you are a tenant that does a lease option.
if you were a tenant.
Does that make sense?
So you would rent from the owner, and
right?
And then
Lease to purchase is how I look at this. Like,
Oh,
so if we were to
okay.
do the right, that's how I'm looking at this.
is that what this is, Shano?
I think it's similar to that apartment complex that you guys kind of leased it out.
Oh, like the master lease?
Right. Similar
Okay.
to the
So
master
this looks
lease.
to me like, yeah, so if we were to do, we'll lease to purchase with the 10 and the 42 pack, there's a known price. They allow to control and live in the property.
Yeah.
So that's the benefits of it. And then you can get approved through we didn't have to get approved through any financing, or they don't have to get approved through any financing through that process. So
Yep.
that's how I look at
That's
it.
great on the tenant side. From the investor side,
Yes.
the way we've done this in the past and have done it with a 32-unit apartment complex was, hey, we don't have the means to buy this right now. You're out of town, so we created a master lease with the option to purchase in the future with a set price. And we paid him a monthly lease to operate it. Monthly rent in the form of a lease to operate it, and then we got all the extra cash flow and stuff. So it's kind of like an arbitrage a little bit in a way. We pay you this, we go get this, and then we can arbitrage it. That's how it's supposed to work out. It did not work out like that in our case.
That one did not know. So it's just kind of a way. Again, I look at this more as like a renter side, but I guess you could technically do it how we did it. So those are kind of the pros. This will probably be a faster one. Some cons are typically involve some higher monthly payments. So like, again, I'm just using this as an angle. A lot of people, if you're doing like a lease to own option or lease option like this, it would be, rent's $1,000, but we're going to charge you $1,200, and potentially you can apply some of that towards the principal, but it's going to be higher.
Principal when you
it's going to be a higher costly monthly cost
for that tenant. Yeah, so this is that. Your scenario is you already own a rental house. Yeah. Instead of going out and just renting it, you go out and have a lease purchase agreement. Someone wants to buy a house, but maybe they can't get approved for financing right away, so they can rent from you, pay a little higher, have a little bit of that higher payment go to the down payment in the future or something like that, and then they can build their credit over time.
And we usually do not do this option just because of my experience with it and talking to people. I wouldn't call it not taking advantage of people walls, but like most of the time they're going to, give you $5,000 down to rent a property and charge you $250 more, and then they can't end up everything their credit up and can't pay it, and that's a non-refundable, and you just kind of screwed them over. Not screwed them over, you got paid way more than you would a normal rent, which I guess is good if it's a straight business, but we want to treat people right.
Yeah.
That's the taste I get and when I think of lease purchases.
Well, that's kind of the taste I get when I think of sub 2 in a way, so we'll get to that in a second. But you brought up a good point. There's two sides to almost all of these, right? Mm-hmm. And then going back to seller financing, just real quick, like you can be, instead of like the seller financee, you can be the seller financer. And there's a whole business models based on that, where they buy things with private money or cash. And instead of like owning that property and managing a tenant, they sell it, seller financing.
Selling notes is what you're talking about, yeah, right? Selling paper.
They can just push paper and sell the notes and get cash flow that way. Mm-hmm. So just a lot of different sides to all these, so kind of cool.
Yeah, some cons of lease option. Again, it's higher monthly payment. May not actually end up working out for you or them. If your goal is to actually sell it and not just collect the cash as the investor, it may not work out. And if you're the person that's actually renting it or leasing it to buy it, you may not be able to ever get your shit together.
Yep.
All right, number Trace. Why don't you dig on? I'm gonna call pace right now, and you're gonna dog on sub 2. Go.
All right, sub 2 pros, kind of similar to seller financing is. There's not a lot of, you don't have to get approved through the bank, really, because the bank doesn't know. But the buyer can acquire this property pretty much instead of the seller being the bank. It is the original bank that the seller has the mortgage with. So all you do is pretty much whatever their interest rates are in terms of that loan are, you just take that over and start making those payments just like they were making the payments.
Yeah, so yeah, you're taking over their payments, and you're getting the property and taking over their payments, usually without any money to a certain degree.
Yeah, and there's been definitely a lot of talk about this lately, especially when with local banks in particular. You go out there and get an 8% mortgage right now, or a commercial loan, whatever you call it. But there's people that are locked in at 3 and 4%. So if you're able to get that financing on a new house, and it's going to really help boost your cash flow.
Yeah, for sure. And then another kind of pro is it can move pretty quick.
Yeah, similar
quick. All right, some cons are there's obviously risk involved with the seller. You're taking over, they're trusting you to take over their mortgage, so it can be a little risky.
Yeah, and it's higher risk to me than the owner financing, because if like you default to the owner in an owner financing, they get to come take the property. Mm-hmm. If you default to the bank, the owner still doesn't get the property. The bank gets the property, so they have nothing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, definitely a con, I would say.
So the seller financing is for situations with higher equity. This one doesn't usually matter as much. It's more about the monthly payment in the current situation. So these are all, these are all honestly can be used in different situations at different times. Some other cons are the due on sale clause, which is a big thing that I don't think happens very often.
So. Yeah, so even you do sell the property if you are subject to the financing, you sell it to that buyer. Normally, the bank doesn't find out, but if they do, there is a due on sale clause in their loan terms that they can call the entire amount of the mortgage due within 30 days, and then you have to come up with all that. So it happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say often, but it does happen.
Yeah, there's ways around it to trick the bank or whatever. But
Trick the bank. All right, number 4 is hard money loans.
Real quick on also.
Oh, get it then, Walls.
I would say. The seller financing subject to both of those two are, it depends what you want. If you want to buy a rental every year or every 2 years and have 10 in 20 years, it might be a great option for you. But to me, it's very hard to scale.
Not scale,
Very,
not as
very
scalable.
hard to scale, especially if you want to stay in your local
Unless
market.
you go national like our boy, but yes.
Yeah, and I think, there's a lot of good financing options out there right now. As far as like with the DSCR loans and stuff. So you can we got a DSCR 30-year for 6.3. Maybe it's a lower percentage for a homeowner that you take that over, but it's just such a big mess. Where I'd rather go, do it the clean way and not have to worry about all these different banks that I got different loans with, and it just gets weird.
Luke doesn't like the dirty way. He likes the clean way.
It just gets messy at scale to me. It gets very messy at scale.
I like it. Shane, do you do that, or is it do you click back and forth between us on the screen? Yeah, there you go. All right, cool. All right, number 4 is hard money loans. Lucas, what are hard money loans? What are some pros of them?
Yeah, hard money loans, usually short-term loans. It's one of the pros is that the name is deceiving because it's usually pretty easy. So that's the cool part about those. Asset-based loans, they do look at the borrower, not as heavy as a traditional bank would. They look at the deal more, and it's for short term. So you buy it with a hard money loan and with some option to sell it or refinance within 6 to 12 months.
Exactly. So it's a company that's in business to lend you money. Now they're not as stringent as banks, but they are going to look at your income and your credit score a little bit. So they are pretty quick, easy access to funds with not as much qualifications, and they're really good that they're used for short term. Most of these other are longer term types of things. This is short term. Hard money lenders love 4-month loans, 6-month loans. Most banks, most institutions of any type want a longer term loan. So this short, quick, get in, get out is a little bit tougher. So they're one of the limited options that you have in this shorter term funding.
And these are investment only type loans.
Correct.
These are not a loan that you want to get to for your personal house or anything like that.
Show.
Yep.
Got it.
There you go.
All right, some pros. Or give me some cons, Luke.
Yeah, the higher interest rates, 12 to 18%, I would say, with 1 to 3 points. So definitely expensive. It's very important to get these projects done quickly.
Yeah, and I think the big one for me is I guess some of these we've talked about are little to no money out of pocket. It's pretty tough to do that with hard money. They're going to want some liquidity.
Especially these days.
They're going to want some liquidity. They're going to want some down payment. They're going to want a monthly fee while your loan goes through, which, again, none of this all is horrible. It's just potentially a con if you're limited liquidity-wise or financially-wise. So that's another little bit of a con in there. And then, if you're unable to pay, they take the property. But I don't think that's investing. That's life.
That's life, yeah. I mean...
Life, Shane. You haven't lived long enough, but it's life.
And they're 6 months loans with an option to renew if the project's going well. But if something happens with that project, that 6 months comes up pretty damn quick. And we've had to renew several of these. Thank goodness we were able to, because we were able to kind of explain what the situation. But if you're not a trusted borrower to those hard money lenders, they don't have to renew that loan, and they could call it due right there.
I love it. If you're watching on YouTube, give this video a like. Just do it.
That's thumbs up, right?
Thumbs up, and let us know where you're from, bras.
Yeah,
all right.
we'd love to hear that.
Number 5, partnership and joint venture. So this is kind of JVing or pooling together resources, like, kind of not cobbling. It sounds bad, but like cobbling together a few different sources to make a deal whole.
Yeah. So instead of going to the bank, you say you got a $500,000 purchase, you get 5 people to give you $100,000, and you go buy it, quote unquote, cash, right?
And they're part owners for this one, so they would be, let's say, Yeah, let's say you got 4 of them to partner with you, just for example, and you got the money, and then they all got 20%, and you got 20%. So however you want to split it up, but they're going to get ownership for giving you the money on this one.
Yeah. So, able to go get, a $500,000, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million type of asset with not a lot of your own cash and without banks. So that's pretty cool. And then if you have the right partners too, it could be very powerful, almost like a little board of directors that can help you with your investment strategy and all that stuff.
Yeah, and some of the cons on this one, there's not a lot of cons on this one, in my opinion. Some of the cons are obviously you're partnering with somebody, so there could be some arguments of when to exit, how to exit, and if I think the biggest thing on this one to avoid this one would just be setting clear expectations legally and not on how the thing's going to operate once it is actually closed on. But potentially you have 5 people, 5 opinions, 5 heads butting, so that could be a little bit annoying, and having that conflict and what to do and how to do it is the biggest and the really only main one for me.
For sure. And I would say, just to take that a step farther, on the maybe you're doing this for an income producing property, so like a 4-unit or a 12-unit or something like that, and that cash flow fluctuates every month based on maintenance and vacancies and all that stuff. So when that cash flow isn't as high as it's supposed to be, you get a lot of pushback from your partners because that's where their return's coming from. It's not a loan that you're paying back. So it makes you make decisions about the property that maybe aren't the right decisions for the property because you're skimping on something because you want to show a good return. So I think that's also a con in my eyes.
I like it. Boom, 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 moving, rock and rolling, back and bowling. All right, number 6 is getting some government involved, which is not always a good thing, but it can be. This is an FHA 203K loan. And again, these are all investment type properties. That is an FHA loan with a rehab kicker on the back end. So some benefits of this, it allows for you to purchase the rehab or allows you to fund the purchase and the rehab, which is very, very big pro in my opinion.
Yeah, it's hard. A lot of people or companies out there will give you purchase price only or with a small down payment, but that rehab bucket of money is the hardest to find, I would say, and this limits that. Yeah,
and so then you get a super low 3.5 whatever-ish % down payment on everything, so you're able to fund potentially a few $100,000 deal for 6, 7, 8 grand out of pocket, which is pretty damn good, and that funds the purchase and the rehab. So lots of pros there.
Yeah, and it's amortized over 30 years on the back end, I believe. So that's also really good.
Yep, and some cons of this are it's government, well not, but there's going to be a lot of paperwork. A lot of red tape, and a lot of specific contractors needed, certificates needed.
Specifically on the rehab side.
Specifically on the rehab thing, as well as the inspection side on the purchase and the refinance. So it's just a lot more red tape, which is for good, bad, and different. It is what it is, and then a lot of this is limited to owner occupants.
Yeah, so a lot of people, you could use it for your personal house, or a lot of people, how they use it for investment purchases is with this type of loan, you can purchase a duplex, a threeplex, a fourplex. So they get around this by kind of house hacking, where they live in one of the units and rent out the others.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people do is they'll do this on like a triplex or fourplex.
Yeah, I love that strategy.
Back in the day, that would have been a perfect thing to do. All right, cool. All right, so numero 7. Home equity line of credit HELOC. So this is for a specific situation where you have equity in your personal house and you just tap into that equity via a HELOC or home equity line of credit. And this is a beautiful one before we get into it to kind of pair, and maybe even some pros, but to pair with some other options.
Yeah, so you got equity in your house, and then a bank will go get you up to 80% of what the value of the property is. So say maybe you're 60% LTV, then they would give you 20% line of credit to go use somewhere. So another pro of that is you don't pay interest on it unless you use it. So it could be sitting there, 100 grand could be sitting there, not paying interest on it, just ready for you to find the right project.
Yeah, and so that's huge. It allows you to be super flexible and a lot more active and put a lot more solid offers in. And the interest rates are, while they're higher than like a mortgage, they're much lower than like hard money and private money potentially too, depending on your rate. So the rates are usually prime-ish.
Yep.
So right now you could probably get an 8%, maybe a 7.5%. 7.5 to 8.5% is what you could get right now, which is really cheap on your money.
Yeah, so this is a great source for rehab funds. If you have a home with some equity in it, go look at either the, your favorite local bank. It doesn't have to be the same bank that you have your original mortgage with, but I would probably start with them first, unless it's like maybe like a national lender. Maybe I wouldn't mess with that, like a Chase or something like that.
Like a Quicken Loans or something.
Yeah, Quicken.
Or Rocket Mortgage.
Rocket
Is that
Mortgage.
the same company?
I don't think so.
I think Quicken
They
Loans.
do kind of the same thing though.
Okay. And then some cons are obviously not everybody has equity in their house. So not everybody owns a house. So it's not available to everybody. For those that's available, it's an incredible thing to go just get and have and be able to know that you're able to either you can do it for, like you said, rehab funds or just a hard money down payment and then the monthly payment to the hard money lender. You can be a lot more dangerous with it.
Yeah, and I would say this is your personal home, your primary resident HELOC, and they're able to put a line of credit on it if you have any equity. You don't have to have it paid off. You can also use this strategy on rental properties, but what we've noticed is that banks only like you to give you that HELOC if the rental property is completely paid off.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so numero ocho, your favorite.
Private money lenders, PML.
Pummels. Well, tell me about Pummels, Walls.
Yeah, well, private money lenders
We could spend
are,
the entire episode
I
on this
know.
one. We have.
There's so many beautiful ways you can use other people's money other individual money to buy real estate. It could be short term, it could be long term. We've done them both. So these are your normal people. Usually, they're not these giant institutions. They're people with a little bit saved in retirement and want to diversify their investments, and they're interested in real estate, but they probably are too busy or don't want to go to the hassle of do it themselves. So they can lend you money to go be the operator. Just similar to like owner financing, you can structure these terms to whatever makes sense for you and the lender.
Yeah, and they can be pretty quick access to the capital. You can get approved. You can usually get it via a wire or sitting in your account or a check pretty quickly. So you can get the money quickly. It's very flexible. Very little underwriting going on because of the relationship. Some cons are they're about the lowest rate short-term loan you can get, but they're higher interest rates than other like long-term loans, but they're about the lowest short rate terms you can get, assuming you negotiate that in. And then you got the paperwork and legalities kind of fall on you and or them. There's like hard money's great. They're going to give you all the paperwork, the lien, everything they're taking care of. Private money, you kind of got to figure that out.
Yeah. And another con is there is no oversight on being a private money lender from the government, which I
there
guess
shouldn't
is
be.
Fine. But
you guess fine.
If you are, once you get into pooling money and all that stuff, and the government comes in and definitely oversights that. But being a private money lender being the key word, not much oversight there. So you just got to make sure you got a real good relationship with your private lender. And if you are a private lender, make sure you trust and know who's going to use that capital and they're using it for the right way.
I like it. All right, private money lenders are great. We have a ton of videos on here about private money lenders. If you DM me the word FUND, F-U-N-D, on IG, I will send you a training on how to find them. All right, numero 9, Walls. This is what is it? Nueve. I was gonna get there, Shane. Sorry, I didn't take Spanish two years ago like you.
No Spanish.
No Spanish. Nueve.
Government grants and assistant programs.
You can kind of pair these with things. A lot of times you can do an FHA and get it forgiven with some government for down payment forgiveness assistance programs.
Yeah, and then I don't know if they're always out there. Remember Obama did a big one, right? In like 2010, and the market like came back, and then when that went away, it kind of pooped back. So just kind of a short term.
Called the dead cat bounce.
I think Kamala has something like that as well that she wants to implement. So, but there's so many different ways to utilize the government to your advantage. Like know the rules. There's tax credits as well. People make an entire business off renovating things in certain areas that tax credits are.
Would you call that tax abatement?
That's different, but yeah, that could be part of it. Yeah, where you get giant tax credits for renovating certain buildings in certain areas. So if you're interested in that and that's your niche, I would really focus on that.
I wouldn't have that be
It's not something that you can just kind of, oh, that looks fun. You got to be really dialed in on these. And
Some
make
of
sure
these you can. Some of these you can obviously do private money, HELOCs, hard money, kind of all intertwined together. If a perfect sub-2 opportunity pops in or partnering with someone on JV.
Yep.
But
not this one.
this one, no.
No.
This one, unless you're like really good at construction, have connections, I would avoid numero 9.
Yeah.
Want me to add another one we didn't have in here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Similar. What is the? Yeah. And it's a cash out refinance. We've been doing that a little bit. I just think of HELOC. The only reason I thought this one because it's usually a lot of people are like, should I do, should I refinance or should I do a line of credit on it? And it really kind of depends. So cash out refinances, this would be on your, I guess you could do it in your house too.
Yep.
I think of more investment properties, but either one, you have equity in your house. You can either do a refinance, get a whole new loan at a higher payment, and get that money back tax-free, and be able to utilize it however you want and not have to really pay it back or not have to pay it back quickly because you're getting a new loan. The HELOC is just pulling equity out for a short period of time, much higher. So I always tell people the cash out refinance, if you're taking the money and putting it somewhere that you want it to sit for a long time, you have somewhere for it, that may be a better option. The HELOC is for if you want to be a little more flexible, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it's based on the market too. So if you have a very low interest rate, cash out refinancing right now doesn't make a lot of sense in my eyes because you're
on your current existing mortgage.
on your current existing mortgage. So you're going to take a rate from 3 or 4 to 6 or 7. So that's not great. But if you bought a home in the past 2 years where you bought it at a 7 or 8%, maybe a cash out refinance is something you want to look into. And you can do them both too. Like you don't have to cash out your refinance. You can say you bought a home a year and a half ago at 8%. Right now, you could probably get a 6.25, right? And that'll save you $250 right there. Or I think it's like every percent drop, it's like 10% of your mortgage payment, I think is what it is.
Okay.
So you can refinance just the current loan balance, which is called a rate and term, and then go get a HELOC on top of that. So
you can rate term and not pull any money out, pull the money out on a HELOC. Yep.
So a lot of different ways you can structure these together.
Lucas went deep for the first time ever. There you go. All right, cool. If you learned anything, Shane didn't know which button to put for that one. Make sure to like, subscribe, all the fun things. Follow the show, share it with your friends. All right, ready to get real or fake walls?
Let's do it.
All right. You never want to have this question. Never mind. Real or fake? All right,
Well, we've talked about this a lot. We could keep the name of this segment and do a lot of different things with it.
Yes, correct.
Maybe we will. Maybe for Halloween.
Maybe we will for our Halloween episode.
Yeah.
It's on the 30th, so the day before Halloween,
Yeah.
Halloween Eve. All right, Lucas, real or fake? New art exhibits going up at 6 Madison Public Library locations.
6 Madison Public Library locations.
This is in Madison, Wisconsin, I believe.
So, real weird one. Like, it's usually like shocking or awe.
Yeah.
This is just like, are we doing this?
Yeah.
He's probably doing something that's probably like 5 or something, or 4 because of his freaking, delta he has to hit.
Yeah. Real?
I'm going to go fake.
It is real.
I told you. I read about this.
You did. All right, you get the next one.
All right. Number 2, real or fake? People never eating Cliff Bar again after seeing how they're made.
I think most things, if you see how they're made, you're not going to eat them.
Yeah.
I mean, what things are made like candy's made pretty cool.
Cliff is like one of those that I feel like is like try to trick people though a little bit.
Like there's cardboard in there and shit.
Or they're like, hey, this is a healthy alternative to a candy bar.
Kind of like Celsius.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah, Celsius isn't healthy for you, but they act like it is.
Exactly.
Like drinking like water.
So the people that like don't really do much research and just eat it, like, oh, these are Cliff Bars, they're good, and then they see how it's made, they're like, shit, that is not how I thought they were made. But I'm gonna go fake.
I'm gonna go true or real.
It is a fake headline.
You're on fire, Lucas.
Oh, just guessing over here. Just guessing. Number 3, Sam.
Teenager out on a hike sent mysterious photo of Shadow Man to family and was never seen again.
That's wild. Hey, check this guy out, and then he disappears. Shadow Man. I kind of want that to be real in a weird way.
What?
Because it's just so outlandish. So I'm gonna say real.
I'm gonna say fake.
It is a real headline.
Lucas on fire.
Cooking. Feed this boy.
Hey, got to get
Oh,
some confidence
man.
before you get
Oh,
smoked
boy.
and
Riddle me
that's
this.
some screwed up. So somebody's missing. That's messed up.
Shane's sense of humor right there coming through.
Riddle me this, Walls. Lucas, I have no mouth. That's a fact. But the words I make, I can't take back.
Typewriter.
Printer. That's good enough. Yes, that works. I'll give it
That
to
was
you.
close.
I'll give it to
That's
him.
not close. It's good, Shane.
Well, I made that one up, so I was hoping it would stump you, but it did not.
Nope.
Shay just wanted to say you made that one up.
Great job, Shane.
Thank you.
All right, number 2. What has 3 feet but can't walk?
A yardstick.
Boom! He's on. Lucas, you're on fire!
5.
Let's
go!
Goodness gracious!
I have no idea on this next one.
It's a what 5-letter word when written in all capital letters can be read the same upside down?
So I've never even thought about this. What are those, Shane? If you might know this, but the words that are pronounced the same backwards and forwards.
Onomatopoeia?
No, those are not onomatopoeias. Like bang.
Those are sound words.
Yeah.
Boom!
Shazam. Yep, all those.
Yeah.
That's an onomatopoeia. But
Is it an anagram?
maybe I think you might be right. But I know one of those, and
What
that's
is it?
Hannah is
And there's
one. Is
straw warts.
that the same?
Straw warts
What is
forward and
this-
back.
What is this? Straw warts. Is that a thing?
It's the same forward and back.
What is it? Is that just 2 words? Straw warts?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Warts with an A. Is that how you spell warts, or is it warts?
W-A-R-T-S.
Is that warts?
Same as straw. Yes. The S-T-R-A-W.
I went through this weird little phase in college where I would get like little. Warts.
I remember that. That was
and
weird,
it was
yeah.
like hurt to work out. And I would like.
I think it was.
I would take that Dr. Scholl stuff and just be burning them off.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
It's a palindrome. I should have known that.
Yeah, Shane
So upside down and right side up. I have no idea.
swims.
Swims.
It's gotta be all caps. Yeah,
I was
Lucas-
like, what are the words that would be the same? And it's
5 for 6.
swims. Love it. That's a good one.
That was pretty good.
All right.
All right. Samuel, true or false? Good luck. All right. First one. Every planet in the solar system orbits the sun, has gravity, and is perfectly spherical.
I'm gonna say that's true.
That is true. Great
Nice.
job. Chile. I think that's where Gus Fring.
I think there's one L, but okay.
Wasn't Gus Fring
Or
from
is there
Chile?
It auto-corrected it to this.
Maybe it
but
is.
I could be wrong.
All right.
Was Gus Fring from Chile?
I don't know who Gus Frayne is.
You know who Gus Fring is from Breaking Bad?
It should be
Oh.
one L. I apologize to the Chile viewers. Chilean
okay.
viewers.
All right,
Sorry, Chileans.
All right. Chile, not Chili's.
Oh, I'm seeing all the answers.
Which one's which, though? Chile is home to the world's largest waterfall.
I mean, come on now. You know that's
So the largest is like the most
the
volume.
Highest.
Yeah,
right?
this is not the most volume because that's Niagara.
This is
right?
highest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say because he spelled it wrong. Because he would have copy and pasted if it was right. I'm gonna say false.
You are. It's false. It's Venezuela.
I like it.
Venezuela.
Venezuela. Yes. Just move on.
All right. South American countries,
Amortization.
pronunciation is not our best. Or swims. That's a tough one. All right. Last one. Every country has capital, a population, and a government. Kind of
Sounds-
similar to that first question.
Sounds pretty like definitive. I'm gonna say true.
Yeah, it is true. Great
Boom!
job.
Yeah.
Yay.
I didn't even mean to.
Oh, you have the answers?
Yeah, I had the answers.
Okay.
I didn't even mean to. I turned it back over.
Did I give you my version?
You put them on
I
there
did.
and up there.
I kept. Yeah, anyways.
Oh, P. What does P stand for?
Producer. I've got
Oh,
the S one
Shane.
for Shane.
Oh, so look for the P one.
Ah,
I think I would have actually probably. I think I would have got them all wrong.
wrong.
I mean, I would. You think every planet like is spheric? I mean,
I said perfectly to try to stump you a little bit, but
you can make them harder. They're already hard. All right.
great job, Sam.
Thanks. 3 for 3.
Yep. What'd you get on the?
0 for 3.
Okay, so you're 3 for 6.
Yeah.
Not bad today.
Yeah. Thanks. That's
bad
good
for
for
you.
me.
Yeah.
All right. Go.
All right, motivational quote of the day. I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. Mother Teresa.
Teresa.
Hey,
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. That one, you're good there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the ripple effect of good deeds and just general impact is true. You can't talk to everybody, but you can affect a lot of people with whatever you're doing if it ripples through the world.
Yeah. It could be a lot of different ways, too. It could be as simple as being kind to someone. Seriously. You don't know what they're going through, and they can turn right around and do something positive in the world just because you were kind to them that day.
I like it. Good job, Lucas. I don't even want to know what's going on right now.
All right. With the score?
Yeah.
I think I'm up 10.
No.
I think it's 10, Sam.
No. Is it?
Let's see the score, Shano. Do we got to...
You have to your eyes closed now, I think, or something. I can't even see it. Gotta move it.
All right.
Definitely left-handed somewhere. Maybe I'm getting good left-handed because I've shot so much with it.
And I keep going back. If I could make one of these.
Maybe a hook shot?
All right.
Hook shot? Left-handed hook shot?
You got the backboard.
All right.
Hook shot?
There you go.
Lucas is up by quite a bit. He's got to do a hook shot. Oh, he shoots and scores. It's in. He is in. Sam is in the corner shooting with his right hand. He can go up 2 here. It's in.
Nice.
So everybody's up.
Everybody's up 9 now.
Let's
you
go.
Made up some ground.
Don't call it a comeback.
See you guys on the next one.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. We hope you got some major value from our conversation. If you love what you learn, make sure you like, rate, review the show, and help us spread the word by telling a friend.
If you'd like to learn more about working with me inside one of my programs, we'll have those links in the show notes, along with all our social media handles, so you connect with us there for free. If there's a real estate question you'd like us to answer, feel free to send us a message and we'll cover it in an upcoming show.